Alright, hey guys, this is Kid Seg, and this is a video that's kind of like a behind the scenes or the making of the Song of Joe. I thought it'd maybe be a fun idea to go through these for all my music that I've been making. Mainly show like how it became what it was, or other versions of the song that, of course, aren't included in the final version. So uh, here are some of the other ideas I had while making the songs. And the first one I'm going to be doing is the Song of Joe. Um, First off, going into the Song of Joe, I had this idea of making a song for all my really close friends that I've had for a long time. Uh, Sort of like a thank you for being my friend, or just something fun to do, really. I guess my biggest source of inspiration for this idea would come from Nintendo Capri Sun. He's a YouTuber, been a fan of for a long time, and he made like themes for YouTuber friends within the Mario Paint composer. And I thought that would be really cool, so I thought it'd be really fun to maybe try that myself. And I started with Joe. Excited. I thought it'd be cool to like try to release these on everyone's birthday, and obviously that's not happening with how long this takes me to make them, because it was like 2 weeks before Joe's birthday. So I was like, yeah, I can get that done in time. They'll give me like a month for Zach, and then a few months for Damien and Corey, and that definitely didn't happen. So I still was gonna do Joe first, of course, because I already, you know, started. And then I decided I'd just do birthday order, 'cause that's what I was gonna do anyway. But over the course of the next however long it takes to do all these, um, yeah. So the first step to my process that I decided on, at least for Song of Joe, and I did this with everyone. I sent them some questions about like music, not telling them what I was doing, and just like, hey, what kind of music do you like listening to? What are some of your favorite instruments? What are some sounds? Include as many things or as few things as you want. And actually, let me see if I can find Joe's original post. I have the playlist I made, but see if I can find his actual message. Alright, so I just found the message from Joe, and the songs included was The Last of Us theme, Gas Mask and Brittle Bones Nikki by Rare Americans, Walking in My Sleep by Chris Orlowski, and Can I Get a Witness by Sunreal. So what I did first, I didn't have like any, I don't want to say scientific, but I'll say scientific, just because I can't think of a better word, scientific method for going about making a song, or like if I was trying to like make it about, like I don't know if I was trying to make it represent Joe, or make a song that he was trying to like, or anything like that. I was like, just gotta jump into it. So I made a playlist of those songs, and for like a day or two, I just listened to that playlist throughout the day. When I was like, maybe playing chess, or just in the background when I'm doing other stuff, to like kind of get into the mindset of those songs. And when I did that, this was the first draft I made of the Song of Joe. So this is like Song of Joe V1. So let's have a listen at that. And then I'll show this next part after this. But this was the very first thing I made before I like really moved on. I worked on this, trying to adjust things on this, make it sound good, and listened to it a few times, and then eventually moved on. And the initial part, I got the guitar or synth part. I had that mainly. Think I got that from Brittle Bones Nikki while listening to it. Because I also watched the behind the scenes of Berta Bones Nikki, and I was listening to it. Alright, so I was watching the behind the scenes of Berta Bones Nikki, so I could hear more of the rhythms they got out and also get their process for writing songs, because this was like the third or fourth attempt I ever had, and this was, or the second like real attempt to make it like something more fledged out. So I think it was in the third section of the song where he's in jail and you hear, I don't know how to describe it, but it sounds, I don't know, if you listen to the song, you can probably hear some sort of resemblance between how this sounds to the song with the guitars. And then the strum, don't know where I was going with it. I just thought it would be like a good transition thing, because something that tends to happen with me, and I don't know. I'm still working on this. I think I've gotten better at it since this. But transitioning from one part to another, I seem to have this thought that I have to make like a super smooth transition, and so I was like, oh, okay, I'll just go with the drums, and then once drums go, it'll be a different part of the song. And not every song needs to have a smooth transition, or maybe they can, or maybe it'll come more naturally, maybe more spontaneous. But I was a band kid, and typically, you have like parts introduced and then come back in later, or it'll be one part and then slowly build into the next part. Yeah, and you'll see that when I get to later versions. They can, but this also was me just experimenting with drums. I never really focused on drums, because I think the only other song I had before this was Lucy, and that is just piano and I think violin at the end in the music box. So this is me trying to make like a drum fill going from part 1 to part 2 of the song. And then I would say with each song I kept some sort of goal, and with Joe definitely became trying to make a song without a chorus, because I saw a video on this. Of course, Bohemian Rhapsody is a really, really cool song, well-made song, everyone loves it, and there's no real chorus in it. It's almost like every part's the chorus. And then also Green Day's Jesus of Suburbia is a more modern version of that idea of no real chorus. It's make every part exciting, or make every part the chorus if you can. So this was the second part, and as you can see, it kind of fits the idea of every part being different, not really a chorus with this. I'm actually gonna adjust this real quick, because originally it was without the trumpet sound, so you'll hear this and I'll add the trumpets in later. Oh, I'll probably unmute that for this. And that's everything from the first version, but obviously this saxophone part is just a reference to the synth part in the beginning. And then with this, I don't know why, but I wrote down this kind of reminds me of polka music in my notes. Ultimately, I was like, I don't really like where this is going, where to take it. So I moved on from this. But I think it was a decent attempt. I still think there's some decent ideas in here. Definitely can maybe be reused something later if I need something to go back to. I don't think it's by any means bad. But here's what the trumpets put in. The trumpet part put in at the beginning. And I think with the trumpet, it definitely made it better. But it's definitely not fully what I wanted for the Song of Joe, what I had. So then from here, when I went on to part 2, it's much shorter. I added more to the playlist. I added songs I think fit that style that I had and would help me think of it more or within that style. So other songs I added in I thought would fit the song that Joe style was already going for, not necessarily what Joe provided, was The Judge by 21 Pilots, because I was trying to think of songs that fit that some part of it in some way. And The Judge by 21 Pilots, I thought some part of it. This was like over a year ago, so I don't really remember why exactly. But then also King for a Day by Pierce the Veil, I added that. I honestly don't know why. I really don't know why, but I did. Then A Cruel Angel's Thesis from Evangelion. And you'll definitely hear that. You can definitely hear that at the beginning of the song, with the drum part. That's what I was listening to try to come up with a cool drum part. And I think it turned out pretty well. It definitely took inspiration from this, from Cruel Angel Thesis. I keep forgetting you guys can't see what I'm looking at because I have my book out. So in this, listen to those songs a bit, try to come up with something new, and this is what I came up with. Definitely not representative of Joe in any sort of way, but I definitely wanted to try out some more synths because I never used them before this point. Well, I did, but very little. And so it's more experimenting, and I think you'll see some ideas that emerge in the final version of Song of Joe starting here in some parts of this. Yeah, so obviously that's more or less the drum part from Song of Joe in the first section of it. And this, don't fully remember what I came up with. On my notes I wrote, it kind of sounds like rock or Christmas or a really lame Shook song, maybe from one of their later albums. Obviously I was listening to, I think I was listening to New Abnormal because that just came out. And probably thinking of At the Door, so I would guess. And yeah, that's what I came up with. But sometimes when you're trying to make something, you drift off into a totally different style. Make something again, I don't think this sounds bad. But definitely not what I was going with for Song of Joe. But how I write music is if I have an idea that doesn't fit in immediately, it might fit in within the style later. I'll just put some empty bars to fill in later, and then move the part over. And this is another thing that's in the final version of Song of Joe, just not fully fleshed out. Alright, and then here I have the more realized version of that, which is just same thing, just minus the drums throughout all of it, and also with the trombone as working as a foundation. I do think the trombone makes it sound better than without it, and I did not include trombone in the final version. Honestly, don't remember if I made that part just the bass part. Hope I did. If not, I do want to remake Song of Joe because I think I've become a lot better making music. So I think I can make it sound better, rebalance the sounds and everything, or add some stuff, take out some stuff. And obviously, yeah, you know how the rest of that goes if you heard Song of Joe. If not, you'll listen to it. And this is what later turns into like my main method for the Friends song saga. I'll just have one big thing and just keep, like, every day I'll come back to it, try to add a couple measures of ideas, like one solid idea at least every day until I get some stuff going, and then eventually it'll evolve into something and the parts start coming together. I'll start seeing like how to combine different parts, or maybe it'll just be a lot of nothing that really works, and then I'll just keep going, and eventually I'll come up with something. Like, the idea is just to sit down just for a few minutes every day, maybe 30 minutes at most, and just to work on one idea. It can be like a short 4 measure idea. Then try to do that every day. Or if you can't think of something new or you're having enough time for that, go back to what you made like one of the previous days and see if you can add to it or build upon it. But yeah, and this is you'll see this with Song of Damien, maybe Song of Zach if I have all the files for that. I haven't seen those in a while. But Song of Damien definitely did this similar thing. But yeah, you'll slowly start to see parts of Song of Joe come out when this goes. So I'll just let this play and, add any commentary if I need to. Okay, so obviously this is in Song of Joe. Right after the beginning part. Mainly it started for me just hitting keys. Yeah, that's what I do when I can't think of anything. I'll just like hit some keys together, see if that makes anything that sounds cool. So I just was going back and forth between a B and a C. Yeah, B and a C, and made that. And then I was like do 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 do, and then obviously turned into that. Yeah, sometimes you get your best things if you just get your keyboard out or whatever instrument you play and just play something random. It might make something cool, and you can build upon that. Um, and then that led into this. And that's obviously the first part of Song of Joe, which I think maybe interesting. I think it's interesting that I came up with the second part and the first part, and then it sounds better when you switch them around. Then this is the third part, and I'd say maybe turn down your audio. I'll do that, but just be prepared because this is pretty loud unless I already adjusted it. This is the third part. It's a lot of sounds all at once, and I thought it sounded cool. And in the final version of the song, I turned down some of the sounds or took some out because it was just a lot, like, almost stressful. Oh, I'm wrong. That's not it at all. But I'll just tell you, and I'll tell you to bring stuff when it comes up. So this is, yeah. Okay, it's this part. This part, there's a lot going on. Definitely the third part where it's like intense, where I think would be like where Escape Room came from. Definitely this section because it's intense, a lot going on, almost like you need to escape something. Definitely not. Us definitely didn't like. Definitely wasn't thinking Escape Room specific. I was making this, but it's one of those things that in hindsight you can kind of like see that idea in there. So I'd say great. I don't know, maybe like take one headphone off to give you some space. 3, 2, 1. Okay, honestly, that wasn't as loud as I thought, as I remember. Maybe I already fixed it, but when I first did it, it was really loud. And then another cool drum fill into this part. Oh, I don't know how I skipped all that. Yeah, and then that's everything from Song of Joe I thought of, and then eventually it turned into this, which is where I took all the beginning parts and then put everything together, and then this last final part at the end. Honestly, I would just play this at the end of the video, but it's really quiet because I was really dumb at making an MP3 file and didn't think to just turn it down in my video editor, so I was trying to adjust all the audio on my own, made them all really quiet. Very dumb in hindsight. But you heard everything already, so it should be fine. When I do like Song of Zach or Lucy, Song of Damien, Emerald Oasis, I'll just let the file play so you can see like all the parts as they come up. It's not this song doesn't sound well. You can just listen to the song, and I think I did a good job explaining all the parts as it came. So you should be able to piece together with everything. Last thing I can say include before I end off the video is escape room. At the time, I did just do my first escape room, so that was definitely something fresh in my mind. But other potential names I had while working on it was, well, I guess I only have one, was like Insanity. And the reason for that is not because Joe's necessarily insane, but he has this really I don't know a good way to describe it, like a really special laugh. It's not bad or anything crazy, but back when we were roommates at NAU, I'll be talking to one of my other friends, Corey or Damien. We all know Joe, so like Joe knows he can keep doing his own thing, doesn't need to be quiet or anything. Then he'll be watching like a fun YouTube video, and then he'll just start laughing. And Joe is someone who, if he thinks something funny, he's gonna laugh and goes all out on his laughter, which is awesome. Like I love that about him. Same carries over to like movies. Like we went to go see Spider-Man: Far From Home a few years ago, and when something happens in the movie, you would know he gets really into movies. He of course doesn't like yell or is a real disturbance, but like if you sit next to him, it's like no, it adds to it. It makes for me, I enjoy sitting next to Joe in like a movie because you can tell he's really into it. But like at NAU, I'll be talking to Corey usually, and you would hear Joe and laugh at something, and Corey would be like, and I don't know why Corey would always say this, but Corey would always be like, "What is that?" He'd be really confused. I'm like, "Oh, it's just Joe laughing." Or we always thought it was funny, and I don't know why I associate that with the term insanity, but that's what I wrote down in my book. Maybe it was more like I found I could associate laughing and insanity together, maybe like the Joker. Not to make it seem like Joe's a Joker, but definitely this ending part in the song, when it's just the piano going like do 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 do, and then eventually saxophone comes in and then ends abruptly, is fairly insane. But when I do that, it makes you think of the escape room. Not I guess it really doesn't matter. At the end of the room, once you solve it, like the lights went out, and it was insane. And whenever I hear this, it makes me think of that because like something jumps out at you because you solved it, and you solved the mystery, and that makes me think of that. So that was the main reason why I named it Escape Room. And then also, in hindsight, you can look back at different parts of this. I always like go back to song making and like how I hear them in games because it helps me like visualize. Helps me if I can visualize the song along with something. So I can almost hear like the guitar parts, like how you're like making real progress, something cool's happening, you're doing really good, and then it goes into the softer part where it's like, oh, time's starting to run out. Then it's crazy. You're like, oh man, I got 30 seconds left, and then it's over. Or maybe you got out. Depends on how you look at it. Obviously, that's not like it's not like a story to go along with the song. It's just like a way I think about it sometimes. Um, but yeah, that's the Song of Joe. I hope you enjoyed it. I will be making more of these, even if you didn't. Um, and yeah, that's the Making a Song of Joe. So I think I already said that. Thanks for watching. See ya.